Okay, boys, it looks like we are live. And again, I am very, very sorry that the quality is going to be a little bit lower. I'm sorry that we are not doing our usual videos, but I am still with my with my family in Florida. So until I get back to Texas, it's going to be just another few days of me coming out here live streaming, just answering your questions directly, diving into trades, diving into the waiver wire. And let me know during the live stream, or let me know in the comment section if you're watching this as a video later on, if maybe this is something you want me to continue doing once we get back to Texas. Of course, we will continue to go through and do our usual basketball videos, but maybe this is something that we can do every single night, just because, I mean, maybe I'll have the time and maybe it's useful for y'all. But of course, that's going to be dependent on if you get value from it. It's going to be dependent on if you like it. So please let me know whether that's through the live stream. Let me know whether or not that's in the comment section of the video, if that's something that you would like. And you can also let me know by dropping a like on the video, of course. So let's go through, and I see that we have a ton of people already out here. Thank y'all so much, guys. We already have a ton of likes on the live stream. Of course, notification gang is always strong with this channel. I think that probably the fantasy basketball channel is the best with notification gang and y'all coming out so early every single video, every single live stream. And I just want to give y'all a massive, massive thank you for that. Oh crap, we just got our first donation ever on the channel from Zachary. Zachary, thank you. I mean, that is absolutely crazy. And you're saying points league, Luka, Karl Anthony Towns, and Pascal Siakam for Steph Curry, Joel Embiid, and Christian Wood. I'm good for a playoff spot already. Okay, that was going to be my first question to ask you. It was going to be, what is your team current situation? Because obviously, trading for Joel Embiid currently is not going to be something ideal if you're having to fight for that last playoff spot. But if you're in this scenario where you're already good with the playoff spot, I think we can safely look at this trade and break it down as, obviously, we would rather have Joel Embiid over Karl Anthony Towns, with the uncertainty of Karl Anthony Towns possibly sitting out back-to-backs once we get to the fantasy basketball playoffs. But Joel Embiid should be good when we are during that stretch, because the Sixers could be fighting possibly for the first or second overall spot in the Eastern Conference. And then we go through, they have Christian Wood on that side. So y'all know we've said this so many times before with Christian Wood, but that's going to be the hardest player for me to currently evaluate, because we are going to love to project him to have an extremely high points per game average. If that's points, rebounds, blocks, whatever it is with Christian Wood, I am confident that he's going to give us a decent amount of production in a points format every single game that he plays. But like we said in the live stream yesterday, the question here is, how many games played are we going to get from Christian Wood? He's already had 2 ankle injuries so far this year. And I'm not saying that we're projecting him to get another injury, but what I am saying is, I'm saying this Houston Rockets team has absolutely nothing to play for, and we understand that Christian Wood is signed for the next few years in Houston. So there's really no incentive for them to try to win games right now at the expense of possibly increasing the probability of an injury from Christian Wood. So that's going to be the most polarizing player currently in fantasy basketball, in my opinion, just because it's going to be so hard to try to figure out what that tanking team is going to do once we get closer to the end of the year. And I'll say, in a points format, this is what's going to make the difference for me. The difference is Luka in a points format is just a straight up god. I mean, the fact that he is close to a 28-point triple-double over the past month with his per game averages, the fact that the Dallas Mavericks are winning basketball games again, the fact that they are going to be fighting for a spot in the Western Conference playoffs, and we know that they're going to be playing every single night. I'm viewing Luka as an elite asset. I think Pascal Siakam kind of fits the same mold, and if we go back to our fantasy basketball playoff schedule video, we know that Pascal Siakam has a great one with the Toronto Raptors. Now, please, please, please double check. Remember, everything that I am saying right now is coming off the top of my head, so I could be a little bit mistaken here with the playoff schedule for Toronto. So look at your own league settings. But if I am remembering correctly, in that we are going to be seeing Pascal Siakam play 4-4-4 games during that stretch, obviously that's a piece that we are going to love to have. So I will say that because we are having to look at a few players in this deal and we are not necessarily knowing how many games we are going to see from them, that makes this trade extremely difficult to come out here and say yes for sure on. I will say, though, just because the overall upside of the deal, and we know that when we are playing for the fantasy basketball playoffs, when we are going to be playing the other best teams in the league, we are pretty much all hunting upside and upside alone. I think there we go with the Steph Curry, Joel Embiid, and Christian Wood side, even though you may be rolling the dice a little bit there with Christian Wood and how many games he's going to be playing at the end of the year. Okay. So let me go through and let me see if we have any other questions that we can get to right away. Okay, so let's just give a quick shout out to a couple of the people that came out to the live stream right away. Thank you so much. Okay, Young Kid of Atlanta, Urza Vahisha, Young Kid of Atlanta saying, hey Mason, can you rate my team? Here, man, like I said this in the live stream last night, it's going to be very hard for me to go through and give exact team ratings either through Twitter or through Discord just because we get so many of those questions every single day that I've been exclusively doing rate my team request on Patreon. I can get y'all that link after the video if you would like, but I think that everybody who's wanted to support the show on Patreon by now is probably doing so. So not going to be extremely worried about getting that link out right now. Okay, so Jason coming out says, is De'Aaron Fox a sell high in a points league? And who is someone to get off the waiver wire for the potential playoffs? Okay, so here, let's answer the De'Aaron Fox question. And I will say with De'Aaron Fox, in a category format, yes, then I would be saying he's a sell high. Because you look at De'Aaron Fox and you go, he's very similar to Ja Morant. Yes, they are players that are very talented guards and extremely young, and nobody would be surprised if they were making all NBA teams in their future. But they are also players that I think their name value is a little bit higher right now than their actual fantasy value. So with De'Aaron Fox in particular, because this is a points format, I would rather just be holding, but in a category league, for anybody else watching this video, there I am going to be very willing to sell De'Aaron Fox because although he's been shooting the three ball a lot better this year, his free throw percentage has actually taken a hit. And we know that for those category leagues, that's going to make a difference. Okay, we have another donation coming out. Thank you so much. This is from AJRE. Says, should I drop Horford, Fournier, Markkanen, or none of them? Hero and Garland on waivers, 8-man points league. Okay, so initial thought, I'm going to say maybe Horford would be the one guy that you could look to get rid of. Real quick, let's pull up the per game averages over the past 30 days on these players and really dive into it. Okay, so Al Horford, let's see, on the season is averaging 14 points, 6.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and decent defensive statistics. And if we zoom in on the last 30 days, which is something I really like to do when we try to evaluate these players in trades, then Al Horford sees his stats change to 13.5 points a game, 6 rebounds a game, 2.5 assists, and still is averaging close to a block and a steal a game. Now, if we go to our player in Chicago, who I always have a very difficult time saying his name, we know, this is someone that has a little bit more upside just because we can see him continue to develop his game. But alongside that, if you look at the current averages, if we were talking about a points league format, then it would be more exciting than a category league. But nonetheless, it's not necessarily great on either end. Let me remind myself if this is a points league or a category league. Okay, so this is a points league, so we can ignore the poor free throw percentage that we have from Lauri Markkanen. I don't know why I can't say that name. I've never been able to. I've practiced I don't know how many times before trying to just make it where I don't sound like a complete idiot. But with Lauri, we know that he's a great three-ball shooter. He's actually been averaging over 3 threes a game over the past month, even though he's only played 6 games, but still 16 points a game to go along with it, 5 rebounds, really no assist, and decent production when you're going to be looking at his defensive stats, at least with blocks. So there, it's a little bit closer because we know that when we are evaluating these players for an 8-team league, that you're pretty much looking for just straight up upside, and outside of that, you really don't care too much about anything else. Okay, so if we pull up Tyler Hero right now over the past 30 days, I mean, it is very gross. It's a lot grosser in a category league because we can tell that, okay, I mean, he is someone that is a horrible field goal percentage, but still in those point league formats, he's still only averaging about 12.8 points a game over the past 30 days, 4 rebounds, 2.5 assists. He does have a steal, and we know that Tyler Hero has the age. We know that this is a Miami Heat team that is also playing a significant amount of games in the playoffs. We also know that this is a team that is going to be playing their best players very, very often. So Tyler Hero, I'll initially say, yes, he is being outproduced right now by Al Horford, but that could possibly be a move that we're making just for the pure upside alone once we get to the playoffs. And let's look at Garland right now with what he is looking like over the past 30 days, where by far and away the best option on this list, to be honest. Yes, we know with Cleveland a lot of things are going to be changing over the next few weeks, but if we look at the past 30 days, he's averaging close to 35 minutes a game. To go along with these minutes, he's up there at 18 points, 7 assists, a steal and a half, and I know the rebounds aren't going to be there, but the three ball is as well. He's averaging 2 3-point shots a game. So here, my answer is go drop Al Horford for Darius Garland. I don't have your entire roster construction here, so I can't say for certain, but I believe the upside is going to be better with Darius Garland, and really, upside is the only thing that matters in 8-man leagues. Okay, so now let's go and let's try to find our next question. Okay, so I will also say, guys, when I'm looking for questions, I'm going to be prioritizing the questions that came at the very beginning of the live stream, the people that have been hanging out the entire time, and the people that are subscribed to the channel and come out at the very beginning. Y'all know, notification gang, number one thing I need to be making sure that we are looking at. So let me try to get to some more of your questions. Okay, so Leonardo coming out with our next one. It says, Ingram and Valanciunas for Kevin Durant. I need to win right now. Okay, so if you need to win right now, I'll say that this is going to be dependent on the depth of your league. If this is an 8-team league where we know that the options on the waiver wire are going to be fantastic, where we know that Kevin Durant is also going to be seeing a playoff schedule with 4 games, then we possibly lean with KD. But if this is a 10, 12, 14, 16-man league, and we know that depth is going to be a little bit more important, and if you're saying you need to win right now, obviously Kevin Durant isn't going to be able to help you that much in doing so. There, I think we go with Brandon Ingram and Valanciunas. Okay, so let's go through, and Lobs coming in says, what are some trade targets you would look to get rid of for Deandre Ayton? Okay, so if we are going to be talking about trading Deandre Ayton for a player, obviously, this is going to matter if it's a points league or a category league. In a category league, because DeAndre Ayton is a player that is very selective with his shots, he's actually going to be worth a little bit more, where it's going to be a completely different range. But I know a lot of questions that we've had today have been for those point league formats. So let's look at his point league value over the past 30 days. Even if DeAndre Ayton is someone that we know, we love the situation. We love him playing on a competitive team in Phoenix. But the thing here is, after the past 30 days, we're looking at his minutes played, and it's 26.5. That's just not going to cut it in these points leagues. He's not putting up enough field goal attempts to really rack up a ton of points, where he's averaging less than 15 points a game, and rebounds are down at 8. And this is the number one problem with DeAndre Ayton. I mean, obviously, people weren't drafting him at the beginning of drafts this year for his elite assist numbers, because he's never going to be someone that's going to be racking up assists. But we thought this was a guy that could average 11, 12 rebounds every single night. To go along with that, just say 18, 19 points. So DeAndre Ayton was a player that a lot of people were excited about. But right now, I mean, if we were looking at the past 30 days, DeAndre Ayton is literally the 119th player in value over replacement. So I will say it's not going to take a whole lot to get DeAndre Ayton from us. Karis LeVert would be interesting. You look at Karis LeVert in his 4 games back. He's been averaging 14.5 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal and a half to go along with it. 30 minutes a game in that Indiana rotation. Then we can go through and look at someone that I know has left a very sour taste in a lot of mouths. But right now, we know that he, A, has the positional flexibility where he can really fit onto any roster, and B, is a great option in points leagues compared to category leagues. It's going to be Kelly Oubre Jr., who is up there with 33 minutes a game, 17 points a game, 5.5 rebounds over the past 30 days. So Kelly Oubre Jr., Malcolm Brogdon. Malcolm Brogdon is someone that I would actually probably prefer a little bit more in a category league, especially with Karis LeVert coming back. You could go possibly try to buy low on a CJ McCollum. I know a lot of people have been disappointed with his return, where he's only averaging 3.5 rebounds, less than 3 assists to go along with that. But we understand that this was not an easy injury to come back from with CJ McCollum. So I'll say that's another guy you could be looking at. Okay. So let's go through and see if there are any other questions that we're going to be looking at. Also, I see that we have 15 likes on the live stream already. Thank y'all so much, guys, for everybody who has decided to go down there and drop a like. Zachary with another donation, man. I'm sorry that I missed that. You're saying thanks so much for your breakdown of my trade. No, man, thank you so much for deciding to support the channel. That literally means so much. I think that was the first donation the channel has ever gotten. So I truly appreciate that. I hope that what I was saying made sense for you. I hope that I was able to help even in the slightest. Okay, so let's go through and let's try to find another question. This one's going to come out from Chill Kid, who's asking, who should I trade Ja for, Mace? Okay, so here I'll say it's weird to see you call me Mace. That literally like only my family does that. But anyway, let me go through and let's pull up Ja Morant's numbers over the past 30 days. And also, guys, please go to the comment section of this video, the comment section of this live stream. If y'all enjoy me doing this, I can still, once we get back to Texas, make the regular fantasy basketball videos that y'all are used to. But maybe I can do this every single night if that's going to be able to help more teams. And anyway, let's pull up Ja Morant, who, if we're looking at the past 30 days, I know y'all aren't going to believe me just because you hear the name Ja Morant and you go, okay, this is an exciting player. This is someone that we need to be valuing very high in fantasy basketball. In reality, that's not the case. The past 30 days, you look at his value over replacement in point league formats, and he's down there at 112. And here with Ja Morant, it's A, he's not hitting the three ball. B, the assists aren't nearly as high as you would expect from Ja Morant, where they're sitting at 6.5, because we know this is a player that's not going to be racking up defensive statistics. This is also a player that's barely going to be rebounding the ball at all. So I don't know how many times we have to talk about this, but Ja Morant, yes, he is going to be an elite NBA player. He is so fun to watch, and he has all the potential in the world, but currently not necessarily someone that you want to be very excited about in fantasy basketball. So if we are going to be pulling stuff up, another player on the Golden State Warriors that a lot of people don't like, a lot of people hear his name and just kind of throw up a little. But if you look at his value over replacement over the past 30 days, it has been considerably higher than Ja Morant's. And even if you're projecting Ja to continue to progress, even if you're projecting this player to go down slightly, I think you could get a significant piece on top of it, and it's going to be Andrew Wiggins. So here, I think that a trade that I would love to make, and I know a lot of people are going to think it's gross, I would take Ja Morant, trade him for Andrew Wiggins in another piece. Or you could always include Ja Morant in a 2-for-1 deal, possibly trade someone like Ja Morant and then throw in a Jarrett Allen and try to get someone in that top tier, maybe someone like a LeBron, maybe someone like a Nikola Vucevic. So I think that would make a ton of sense. Okay, so let's go. I see Uzi coming out, says, take a shot, Mace. Yes, sir. Definitely. Hey, how about this? Once we get back to Texas, I will do it for you, my man. I promise. Okay, so let's go through and see if we have any other questions before we end the live stream. Thank y'all all so much for coming out, guys. I really hope I was able to get to your question. And if not, I'll be doing this same thing. Actually, I don't know if I'll be able to do the same thing tomorrow. I told my parents I would go to Disney with my younger siblings. So I think we are going to go early in the morning. Maybe if I do this tomorrow, it'll be late at night. Maybe it'll be like 11 p.m. Eastern time. So yeah, just make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you have your notifications on. And our next question coming out from Greg says, where do you see Keldon Johnson rest of season in a points league? I'll say, first off, coming from someone who is a San Antonio Spurs fan, I mean, Keldon Johnson has actually been very surprising with his play this year. But if you look at the past 30 days, I mean, not necessarily living up to expectations. Right now, his value over replacement in a points league format is down there at 184 over the past 30 days on a per game basis. In a category league, it's a little bit higher, not necessarily that much, at 172. So Keldon Johnson, I love what he is actually doing on the court and impacting the Spurs play. But in reality, in fantasy basketball, not going to be someone that you can be putting a ton of stock into, even though we know that the points are going to be there, the rebounds are going to be a little bit average. Just Keldon Johnson, I think another instance of someone making a bigger impact on the real life court rather than your fantasy teams. Okay, so let's go through and let me see if we have any other questions that we should be going through. Okay, so Henry asking, is Jaren Jackson Jr. worth holding when I'm 9-2? Okay, thank you so much for giving me context of this, because I'll say this with Jaren Jackson Jr. Obviously this year has been extremely frustrating. I thought we were going to get Jaren Jackson Jr. back a long time ago. B, here, when you're 9-2, that makes a massive difference. When you're 9-2, you're not going to have to worry about making your fantasy basketball playoffs. You pretty much have it on lock, and you're pretty much just playing for upside. Like I said at the beginning of the video, this is the time of year where you have to understand. You have to go, okay, I'm in either bucket A, where I'm trying to do everything I can to make sure we are maximizing our short-term point output to guarantee our spot in the fantasy basketball playoffs, or I'm in bucket B, where we are already sitting nice and pretty, and what we need to be doing is we need to be making sure that we have the highest upside during that playoff stretch. So because you're 9-2, I think it's worth just holding Jaren Jackson Jr. a little bit longer. Hopefully we get some more clarity on the situation. So please hold Jaren Jackson Jr. with your current situation. Okay. So now, thank you guys. Thank you all so much for coming out. I see that we got 25 likes on the live stream. That's absolutely massive. Like I said, I'll be trying to go and live stream tomorrow night, probably pretty late because I'm probably not going to get to the house until really late as well. So hope to see you there. If not, obviously y'all can support the show on Patreon, get your questions answered anytime, but I'm sure that y'all already know where that link is. Maybe I'll drop it in the comment section of the video just in case someone wants to support the channel. But thank you so much, guys. Y'all already support the channel by dropping likes, subscribing, so it means a ton. And yeah, I'll see you on the live stream tomorrow night.